Hello, thanks for checking out my video. Welcome to my channel, Me and My Jackets. My name is Chris, and on this channel we talk all about Arc'teryx stuff. Today's video is going to be about layering with Arc'teryx jackets. We're going to be splitting this up into two separate videos, part one and a part two. Part one is basically going to be talking about what layering is and why we layer, and give you some ideas of how we layer. Okay. The second video is basically going to be like my favorite layers. You know, what combinations of jackets do I wear the most for different weather conditions and why. Okay, so let's jump right into this. I'm trying not to make it too long-winded, but we got a lot of stuff to cover. Okay, so basically the beauty with a lot of these Arc'teryx jackets is that they can be worn either as a standalone piece, which means, you know, just grab a jacket, throw it on, and walk out the door and do whatever you're doing, whether, you know, you're going for a hike, you're going shopping, whatever it may be, okay? But the other nice thing about all these jackets is that they're all meant to be fit into a layering system together. Okay, so I'm going to explain how this all kind of works and why. All right, so there's so many different jackets that Arc'teryx makes. Okay, they make fleeces, right? Different fleece layers. They make soft shells, which are things like this. They make insulated pieces like this. And they make what's called a hard shell, okay? Something like this, like a Gore-Tex hard shell. So what are they all, and how are they different, and how are they used? Okay, so we're going to talk about that briefly first. Now the first thing that I want to talk about when it comes to layering, which I don't have right here honestly, but I'm going to mention it anyway, is what's called a base layer. All right, a base layer is basically it's a layer that is going to be a tighter fit, close to the skin, usually a little bit thinner. It's meant to like wick moisture, sweat away from you, and it helps to like insulate as well. It helps to keep warm, kind of like a second layer of skin. Okay, that is your base layer. That's the first thing you're going to put on. All right. After that, we have fleeces. So fleeces come in all different styles, okay, and weights. Something like the Covert here is a real heavy fleece. A Kyanite AR is kind of a mid-weight fleece. And here's a Kyanite LT that's a real lightweight fleece. All right, now fleece jackets basically are insulating. They're warm, okay, but they are very breathable. All right, it's just going to be an extra layer you can wear underneath other insulated layers to give you more warmth. All right, they can be worn standalone when it's not freezing outside. But they will breathe. You will feel cold air, cold wind through them. They are not windproof, they are not waterproof, okay? They're just kind of meant to be a layer to be worn for some extra warmth, all right? From there, let's go into insulated layers, okay? We have lighter layers that insulate, okay? They have either a synthetic or a down insulation inside them. I have separate videos that talk about the differences between down insulation and synthetic insulation, so check that out if you're not familiar with it. That'll help you out to decide, you know, which jacket might be right for you. But there's lightweight pieces like the Atom SL here, and then we got into heavier weight pieces, an Atom AR, Ethereum AR, a Cerium SV, okay? They're all different levels of warmth, different levels of insulation. From there we have soft shells, all right? Now soft shells it can be a pretty wide range of things. It could be a really lightweight windbreaker, okay, like this Squamish hoodie. This is just a nylon shell, a nylon windbreaker, very lightweight. I have a Trino SL here, which is made of a Gore-Tex Infinium. It's a lightweight trail running jacket, and the Gore-Tex Infinium also is a very good wind stopper, okay? And then I have a couple jackets here, Gamma series jackets, the Gamma SL, lightweight, and then a Gamma LT, which is a little heavier weight. That's a soft shell, okay? Now that too, I look at as a second layer of skin on top of other layers, okay? So if, for example, you're wearing a fleece, okay, and it's cold and windy outside, well, you might just want a nice soft shell on top of that fleece to block the wind, okay? So something like that. There's a million ways to wear soft shells. From there we go to hard shells, okay? A hard shell, these Arc'teryx hard shells are all a Gore-Tex material that is totally windproof and waterproof, okay? So these pieces are really nice on the outer layers of all these insulation layers to keep you dry and block the wind, okay? Yeah, so we'll get into these as well. Now, soft shell and hard shell, okay? What we mean by that is, since it's a hard shell, okay, it's not as flexible a material, but it is just like a suit of armor, okay? It will totally block the wind. It'll block any rain. It's waterproof, windproof, okay? They are not insulating, okay? They're not going to keep you warm. There's no insulation inside this jacket. It's simply made to be a shell on top of your insulating layers, okay? The soft shells, especially like the Gamma series, are a lot more flexible. They're made for more high output activities. You know, if you're mountain climbing or, you know, hiking or running or something, and you need this flexibility, this stretch in the jacket, okay? A little more breathability, all right? But it's not totally waterproof. Some of them are not totally windproof, okay? But they are like a second skin to help add some extra protection and hold in some extra warmth, okay? So that kind of gives you an idea of the 4 types of jackets that we're going to be talking about, all right? So, as I said, the nice thing about Arc'teryx jackets is they can be worn as an individual piece, or they can be worn in this whole layering system. They're all designed to be worn together, which is really kind of cool. So it gives you a lot of flexibility, okay? So for example, let's say you're up in the mountains in a hike. You're hiking all weekend, okay? In the early morning, all right, it's going to be cold. The afternoon, it's probably going to warm up, be nice and warm, or warmer, okay? Maybe at some point that afternoon there's a thunderstorm and it's going to rain, all right? And then that night it gets cold again, okay, up in the mountains or wherever you are, all right? So this is where layering comes in really, really crucial and becomes an advantage to you, okay? So let's say, typically, whether you're wearing a base layer or not, okay, I'm just wearing a t-shirt here, so let's go with this. Let's say I've got a t-shirt as my base layer. I have a kyanite AR fleece as a fleece layer on top of the t-shirt, on top of my base layer, okay? On top of that, let's go with a nice insulation layer, nothing too heavy. Let's say it's not that cold out, but it gets cool, okay? How about an Atom LT on top of that, okay? So, early morning, I'm out hiking. It's pretty chilly out, right? All right. I have a nice fleece layer. I have an insulation layer, okay? Maybe, why not? Let's bring along a soft shell. Okay, maybe I'll put a soft shell on top. Now, a soft shell like this Gamma can be worn a number of different ways. you might want to wear the Gamma under the insulation layer. Some people works under, some people it works over, okay? But since it's a shell, for the sake of this video, let's wear it over, all right? So now we got a really nice layering here. I have a fleece layer, a nice insulation layer on underneath, and then I have a flexible soft shell on top, which will help protect against some wind and some, a light rain. Okay, so here we are, we're hiking, right? It's early morning, it's got a chill, it's pretty cool out, and I'm set, I'm ready to go here. Okay, I have a pretty breathable layering system here. And as the hike goes on, the day goes on, maybe now it's, late morning, early afternoon, it's starting to get really warm out, okay? Maybe I don't need this layer anymore, okay? So I could take this off. If it gets really warm, I can unzip, my insulation layer, all right? Or let's say maybe that afternoon, it's still cold and chilly, all right? Maybe we'll leave this on. So you have that flexibility, all right? How about maybe afternoon, all of a sudden a rainstorm comes through, all right? Okay, so let's pull this hard shell out of my backpack. And now we can throw the hard shell on top of all this stuff, okay? Now I have everything I need underneath. I'm nice and warm, and I'm gonna stay dry. All right, I'm gonna stay dry and totally windproof here. So I'm ready for any kind of storm. The storm ends, I can take this hard shell off, roll it back up, stick it back in my backpack, and go on, right? And as the night gets colder, I have these extra layers if I need, okay? So that's just kind of briefly an example of how layering works and why we want to layer, all right? When it comes to which layer, is right for you, it becomes very, I guess, a personal kind of thing, right? Everybody has their own ideas, and different things work for different people in different ways, all right? Like I said, typically I think of the soft shell, like the Gamma, as a layer outside of an insulating layer, right on top of an insulating layer. I had somebody talk to me and tell me they like wearing their Gamma under their insulating layer. Hey, if it works for you, great. All right, that's the beauty with all this Arc'teryx stuff. Everything fits together in different ways. So whatever kind of fits your needs, what's best for you, that's awesome. All right. Now, let me say this, especially with the Gamma series, but a lot of these soft shells are not quite as big as hard shells are, all right? So if you want to throw on a soft shell under a fleece layer, a light insulation layer, they fit great, all right? This is a Gamma SL on top of a kyanite AR. Okay, this fits really nice. So I have the warmth of the kyanite fleece underneath, and I have this soft shell to help hold in some of the heat and block some of the wind, and this will also repel some light rain, okay? A lot of these pieces, just about all of these pieces, except for the fleeces, have what's called a DWR coating. And a DWR coating is basically a light repellent for water, okay? So if we have a light rain, a misty drizzle, the water will bead up on here and drip off. If you have a heavy downpour, a real heavy rain, it's gonna stay a little waterproof for a little while, but eventually it's gonna soak in and you're gonna get wet, all right? At that point, you need a Gore-Tex hard shell. That's totally water resistant, okay? But a soft shell and all these insulation layers that have a DWR coating will repel light rain, but not a heavy rain, a soaking rain, okay? But anyway, so these soft shells are sized a little bit smaller than a hard shell. All right. So for light layers, for a light insulation layer, a soft shell will fit over it just fine. However, for a heavier layer, like, you know, a Therium AR, a Cerium LT, even an Atom AR, they're going to start getting a little tight. Okay, it's going to start getting a little tight in there. So it's not always the best option to wear a soft shell under heavy layers or multiple layers. Okay. Now, a hard shell, okay, such as this. This is a little older one. This is a Zeta SL. I also have a Beta LT, and I have an Alpha SV. Now these jackets, this is my Alpha SV, are sized a lot bigger. These are meant to go on top of all your other layers, okay? So, for example, if I put on this Zeta SL, this is a size extra large too, by the way, okay? I'm 6'2", 210 pounds. Just about every piece here is an extra large. All right, I do have two larges, and I'll explain them in a minute. But this is a Zeta SL hard shell in a size extra large. Okay. Now, I just have this light kyanite on underneath it, and I have room in here. Okay, you see my hands kind of disappear. I mean, fit lengthwise it's okay, but I do have, you know, room in the body. All right, not terrible. All right, it's not, certainly not terrible, but my point is that this shell is meant to go over size extra large layers. Okay, so it's sized bigger, whereas the soft shells are not sized as big. Okay. Now, with just a light layer underneath it, it's a little big. If I put a heavy layer underneath it, like a Therium AR, okay, now my Therium is on top of my kyanite here. All right, I zip this up, and now I can put this hard shell on over top of all of this. It fits great. Okay, this is the way it's meant to be worn. Now this is a pretty heavy layer, okay, so it's not tight, but you can see it kind of fills it out, all right? But it's sized bigger to fit over all your layers, okay? Now, I also have a hard shell, a Beta LT. That's a size large. I sized down. Now, the reason why I have one to size down is because I wanted one to wear in the summer when I'm not wearing layers and it's, you know, 90 degrees outside, and say we have a thunderstorm, you know, and I need a rain jacket, okay? So I bought a Beta LT in a size large. So I sized down because they are sized larger to fit over layers. So when you're not wearing it over layers, you may want to size down. It works for me, okay? That's how it works for me. So here is the size large with just a t-shirt. And now you can see the arm length is perfect on me, right? Length of the jacket's great, and I don't have all this extra room inside here. This jacket fits me perfect. Okay, so you can see the difference, all right, in the sizing. So if you want to wear a hard shell over no layers or a very thin layer, then you may want to think about sizing down. Again, it's just what works for me. Okay, so here's my extra large with just a t-shirt. And you'll see I have a lot more room in here now. It's not terrible. If I had to wear this stand alone by itself, it's fine, but it is big, right? You can see my fingers are barely coming out of the jacket. The sleeves are longer. I have a lot more room here in the body, okay? So again, the hard shell is meant to go over multiple layers, all right? So they're sized a little larger. But this whole thing with Arc'teryx and their layering is awesome because it gives you so much flexibility for different weather conditions, all right? My wife makes fun of me all the time. Every time we go out the door someplace, she stops and she's like, "You sure you got the right jacket? You know, it's 55 degrees, it's partly sunny, there's a little wind out of the north, and there's a 40% chance of rain. You sure you have the right jacket?" You know? And the funny thing is like I can say to myself, yeah, I do. I'm ready, you know, because I have these layers. So it's pretty funny. She busts my chops about that, but in reality, yeah, I've got what I need. It's nice, right? So you have lighter insulation layers. You know, when it's not so cold, we have heavier insulation layers when it is cold. Now, everything is dependent on what's comfortable for you and what conditions you're facing. You know, if you're going to be like, I did a little example, if you're going to be up mountain climbing in the mountains, your conditions can change rapidly, right? From cold at night in the mornings to hotter in the afternoon. You might get thunderstorms, a snowstorm might roll in. And having multiple layers allows you to adjust for that weather condition, all right? I want to give you one more example. A covert cardigan and my Therium AR is something that I wear a lot of times in the winter. I coach volleyball, and sometimes when we have tournaments and we're in the gym or convention center, you know, early morning in the winter, there could be a pretty good chill in the gym. It's cold outside. You can have a nice chill in the gym until everybody gets in there and everybody starts running around and sweating, and then the place starts warming up. But typically what I like to wear is the covert with my Therium AR, okay? So when I'm outside and I'm out, you know, coming in and it's cold in the morning, okay, I have a really nice warm layers here, right? My nice warm fleece, nice down jacket on top. Now, if it's raining or snowing, I can throw a hard shell on top of this, all right? But I like wearing this a lot because when I'm outside and it's cold and I need these extra layers, I'm set. When I get inside the gym, if it's still pretty cool in the gym or, you know, wherever, it's not going to be freezing in there. So I'll probably take off my down jacket, but I still have a nice warm covert fleece underneath, right? And that fleece will keep me warm. Now, if I start getting a little hot in this, I can always unzip it, okay? But I have that flexibility, all right? You know, when we're done with the tournament, I can, you know, zip this back up, put my heavy jacket on, and go back outside, all right? Now, that combination of the covert with the Therium AR is probably equal in warmth to, say, my Cerium SV. This is a really, really warm down jacket. So rather than wearing those two pieces, I could wear this one, okay? So it sounds good, right? I mean, it's one piece instead of two. However, if I wear this to the tournament, and, you know, I'm great when I'm outside going in, but once I'm in, I'm going to be hot in this. Like, this is going to get hot. If I take this off now and the gym is cool, I'm probably going to get cold, okay? There's no in between. I don't have any flexibility here, right? It's either I'm hot or I'm cold, right? Where the other one, I have the fleece underneath. So it's just, you know, that's what layering can kind of do for you. And that's a simple little explanation. But it's basically the same thing, you know, in a nutshell. So again, we have lightweight fleeces, we have heavyweight fleeces, okay? We have lightweight down jackets, we have heavyweight down jackets, we have lightweight synthetic jackets, we have heavyweight synthetic jackets. We've got soft shells, various different kinds, windbreakers, you know, flexible pieces for high output activities, and we've got hard shells. All right, so there's a whole number of different things that can be worn together. Now, I just want to show you another thing that somebody had pointed out to me as well. This is a Gamma LT. All right. And I have a Nuclei FL. So the Gamma LT is a soft shell. This is a non-hooded version. The light blue one here was the hooded version. And the Nuclei FL is a lightweight but very warm synthetic insulated jacket. Typically, I would think you would wear your insulated layer first, right? And then put your soft shell, outer shell, right, on top. So that would be like a typical layer, okay, layering combination here, all right? And this would work great, right? So you have your warm insulation layer, and then you have your second skin on top of it to help block some of that hot, cold air, keep some of that warm air in, all right? And yeah, right? But again, I've had people tell me the opposite, that they like wearing the Gamma LT under their insulating layer. All right, so you can wear maybe a fleece if you want to put a fleece on first, and then put your Gamma LT on, right on top of your fleece, and then put the Nuclei on top of the Gamma LT. Okay, hey, whatever works for you. Okay, whatever's the most comfortable for you, whatever keeps you warm, or whatever situation or circumstance you're in, whatever activity you're doing, what combination you find works best for you, go with it. That's awesome. Okay, so I mean, either way, but the beauty of these pieces is that you have that flexibility to wear them any way you want. But typically, I just, as a baseline, I would say start with your base layer, then your fleece layer on top, okay? Then an insulation layer on top of the fleece, and then either a soft shell or hard shell on top of your insulation layer. If your insulation layer is lighter, then I would say soft shells. If your insulation layer is heavy, then hard shells. If it's gonna be really windy and cold, or rainy and wet and snowy, hard shell, okay? That really should give you a pretty good idea of how to layer with all these different pieces. And I hope you kind of understand the advantages of layering as opposed to just grabbing a singular piece and going out and you know, with one jacket. Absolutely, it'll work, right? You can grab one nice heavy jacket and go out. But again, it depends on what you're doing. If I'm just going to the mall, right, maybe I need one jacket, right? So it depends on what you're doing, all right? So thanks for watching. I hope I clarified, and I hope it made some sense to you and gave you a good idea of the different ways to wear this stuff. So when you go on, like, you know, the Arc'teryx website and you're looking to buy something and you see all these different jackets, hopefully that helps you to understand what the different types of jackets are and how they're used. All right, so thanks very much for watching. Hit that like button if it helped you out. Please subscribe to the channel. I could use the support. I'm doing a lot of videos for you guys and giving you a lot of information, so I'd appreciate the support in return, so thank you. And we'll see you again in part 2. All right, thanks a lot. Bye.